Okay, so I'm recording now.
Okay. So this project is on creating digital rhetoric. I'm a public relations major, so I wanted to do something that was related to what I'm studying. Public relations has developed programs such as PRSA and PRSSA. PRSA is Public Relations Society of America, while PRSSA is Advancing the Profession and the Future Professional. That's their mission statement. First of all, public relations is the professional maintenance of a favorable public image by a company, organization, or famous person. So we really work for a client. It also focuses on the state of a relationship between the public and a company, organization, or icon. So this is the Public Relations Society of America. They're professional, headquartered in New York City. They have a student branch that is the PRSA, but all of their members have access to tools that foster professional development and career growth. They have a public relations journal, which its purpose is to publish articles that deal with fundamental PR problems as they press for solutions. And this is what I wanted to incorporate into my project. Now I'm going to talk about the PRSSA. The Public Relations Student Society of America has a branch at URI that helps students gain experience and practical knowledge. Therefore, students interested in public relations and communications, which exactly is my double majors, they hold high academic standards for public relations education, and they also help gain the experience and practical knowledge employers are seeking. They offer internship listings, competitions, scholarships, awards, and leadership opportunities. They keep you updated on industry trends, and they can connect you to a network of peers and professionals. So networking is really important within the field of PR. So PRSSA has a blog called Progressions. They post helpful articles here for anticipating or current public relations professionals. It's an informational blog that posts informational posts that provide tips, and mostly active PRSSA members and PR professionals look to this for advice. So now I'm going to talk about my writing that I did for this project. I believe a public relations plan would be beneficial to add to this blog. So I made something that is a guide to making a public relations plan. There's nothing like the guide I created on this blog, mostly just tips, advice, and interesting stories. I feel like my writing would be read by many on this blog. In sharing my informational writing on this blog, I hope to provide the guide public relations professionals have been looking for. Also, others may find this resource helpful. So in writing a PR plan, you need to plan for PR. So if you're working for a client, you have to figure everything out beforehand so the client is satisfied. You have to make sure you reach all of their goals. I created a step-by-step guide to help PR officials make a PR plan. This way you do not forget anything important in planning your event or that your client specifically requested. This is specifically for planning programs, but it is professional and widely used by professionals and understood as a process in PR.
Also, it's a live presentation because I'm presenting mine
public
in an
relations
hour.
plan.
Huh? What?
The first is a situation, and then the description, objectives, audience, research, key messages, strategies and tactics, evaluation and measurement, budget, timeline, and calendar. So I'll just describe those very quickly. The situation describes the client and its problem, need, or opportunity for this plan. The description of the event can be creative. You have to come up with a name for the event, choose a location, and your reasoning for choosing this place. And then in this part, you have to list the dates and times for this event. And again, your reasoning for this choice. The objective is what you are trying to accomplish. This must be what we call SMART, which means it has to be specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. So all of these factors have to tie into your objective. For the audience, you have to list your target audiences. It can be as simple as a sentence, but you want it to be really specific. For research, you have to include relevant research about the client, problem, need, and audience. Sometimes graphs, statistics, or visuals may help or aid in the research. For key messages, you usually pick 2 key messages that will resonate with your audience. They should be catchy, inspiring, or a call to action statement. The strategies and tactics is the biggest part of a public relations plan. They're usually tied in together, but they are separate and different concepts or ideas. Strategies are how you propose to achieve your objective and get what you or the client wants. Strategies are often not visible to the audience, but they're an important piece of the plan. A strategy can even be its own event, advocating for the bigger picture. And then the tactics are the tools you will use to communicate your strategy to your target audience. You want to propose multiple tactics. You might only actually create a few or even just one. Tactics should include face-to-face activities, print, broadcast, social media, web, internet, email, alternative media such as billboards, promotional items, prizes, giveaways, etc. So tactics could be any of these strategies that are advocating for your strategy. Then the evaluation and measurement part to a PR plan. This is where you explain how the success of this plan will be measured. So you will describe the output and the outcome. An output is a numerical count of everything you put out or released, published, or shared. So example of this would be like how many flyers you printed or how many tables and booths you held in the union or something. And then the outcome is how you measure the responses you receive. So if you're driving something like a food drive, you want to count your number of donations, or if you post something on social media, you want to count the number of likes you got, stuff like that. Then there's your budget. You have to round off numbers and create a table that lists all costs for this PR plan. This is where you estimate expenses based on strategies and tactics employed. So here you really want to focus on promotional activities. There usually isn't much money for advertising, but you need to include everything for your public relations plan within your budget. Lastly is your timeline or calendar. This is how you show visually with a chart to include any planning activities and evaluation in your calendar. So every little thing you do in this PR plan, say you want to distribute 100 flyers, you have to include that on your timeline and calendar when you're going to do that. So when you put all of this information together, I put it to a blog post for PRSSA's blog progressions. I'm going to talk about the blog post now. So to get my writing on the blog, I had to develop an understanding of the blog's guidelines. You must follow the PRSSA style guide as well as AP style. So now I'll show you the PRSSA blog progressions. This is progressions. This is their homepage. You can see that they have some articles here.
Kaylee, I can't see that. All I see is a blur and it says click exit to full screen.
Oh.
Is that might be on my end? Let me try getting off my full screen. No, that's still what I get. Now I see it. I see that.
Um, let's see.
What were you trying to show us?
Another website.
Okay. Try making a new tab. Or did you do that?
Here, I'll try that.
Okay.
Can you see that?
Yep.
Okay.
There we go.
So this is the PRSSA blog. There are a lot of posts here that provide advice or information for public relations professionals. You can see that these articles titles like 7 things everyone should do when they come to Austin. This is obviously going to be a informational post that you want to listen to. So I decided to title my post something like that. Mine is called 10 Steps to Create a PR Program Plan. So it sort of fits in with the blog's theme and is simple and clear enough that readers know exactly what it'll be about. Now I'm going to bring you to another tab of the blog policy. So here they explain how the blog is open to discussion, and it allows for immediate topical discussions of news items posted by the content managers. So you can comment, there's a comment option for every post. All comments are monitored by the PRSSA content managers. This is usually a scene where you can leave a reply. At the bottom here, it says to write for progressions, please email progressions@prsa.org. So I emailed them my piece of writing. I'll now bring you to the submissions tab. Here they describe the criteria for writing a post on this blog, giving specific guidelines and even a link to the PRSSA style guide. This is everything I looked at while constructing my piece, so I followed these guidelines closely. The other tabs involve more information related to PRSSA and less about the blog. So I don't know if I'll be able to show the email now that I sent to them.
We see your screen, so you might be able to.
I have it up right now.
You do?
Yeah.
Right. You might have to go to screen share and choose it. You might have to get out of this screen and,
Okay, here it
choose
is.
that one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There you go.
All right, so this is the email I sent to Progressions, the PRSSA blog. I told them who I am and what my credentials are, sort of, and why I wrote this piece. Then I sent them the piece in 2 different forms and told them how I went over the blog policy and their submissions tabs. I haven't heard back yet, unfortunately, but I suppose they would get a lot of submissions from students. So hopefully they'll actually put my writing on their blog. So now that I've told you everything I've done in creating digital rhetoric, I'd like to show you what I wrote for the blog.
Jared, just so you know, I muted you when your roommate came in and asked you what you were doing. So if you want to ask any questions or anything or make any comments, just unmute yourself.
So this is my form of digital rhetoric that I made. This is the guide I created, 10 steps to create a PR program website, how other posts are written and created, and then according to their specific guidelines as well. I have a little opening paragraph explaining what this is, and I included a picture because most of the posts on Progressions have pictures as well. And then I explained how public relations is the process. You need to have a plan. And then these are the step-by-steps going through everything I talked about before when I described each step. And this should help any PR professional or student in planning an event. And then at the end here, I included a bio, which most blog posts include anyways, but Progressions is very specific to this. And I read a lot of other people's bios and tried to model mine off of theirs, but I don't have as many credentials as most others. So my writing is an informational guide that informed my audience and it has influence on readers as they'll recall this information the next time they're coming up with a PR plan. So back to the PowerPoint. Here's the email again, and this is my digital rhetoric piece. So in conclusion, I informed my audience and it has influence on readers because they'll recall this information. I'm excited I was able to complete professional writing for a blog directly involved in my field of study. Writing for this blog helps build my portfolio as a PR student. This concludes my presentation, so thanks so much for listening and attending.
All right, thank you. Can we ask questions?
Yeah.
All right, Jared, you're unmuted right now, but you got some noise going on. Okay.
Yeah, I'm listening to this and driving right now.
Okay, gotcha. Do you have any questions, Kaylee?
Noise. I do not. I thought it was a good presentation, though. I enjoyed it.
You were not able to see it, though, right?
Oh, no, I got in the car like 5 minutes ago, so I saw most of it, but I listened to the last 5 minutes.
Okay, cool. I'll post the video. I'm going to mute you again, and I'm going to talk for a bit. Okay, and I'll see you at 7:30. So, Kaylee, I took some notes. I found that really interesting. I hope if you hear after the course is over, please let me know, okay?
Yeah.
I really like to hear if you get published. That's always exciting. I mean, that's how, if you remember Kristen's presentation, that's how she got started. And she's doing really well now. She's making some money and she's writing for a couple of different blogs and keeping her own blog.
Yeah, and, it was cool to write specifically for a blog.
Mm-hmm.
I've never really done a specific blog post before.
So what was interesting for me when I got published the first time was that the editor really liked what I wrote, but he wanted something that I had not included. So he included it. And what was fascinating, because then there's that question of how do you feel about an editor changing your writing, you know? And then, but I have to give him credit. He maintained my voice in the paragraphs that he wrote. He didn't change anything I had written. He just added to it in a way that blended really well.
Wow.
So it made it, like I read it and I was like, okay, I can't tell that I didn't write that, except I know I didn't. So that was pretty cool. But one of my colleagues asked me, so how does it feel to have somebody change your writing on you, you know?
Yeah.
And said, it's a little weird, but I understand it. And it's always the case when you're writing for someone else's site that's going to happen. You know? But I have some things. Really nice job handling the snags, by the way. That's so important when you're presenting online. And the way you just presented is pretty much standard webinar style. So I thought you did a nice job.
Yeah, this is a cool platform. I like doing it on Zoom.
Yeah.
Being able to share my screen.
I will tell you, you begged a couple of questions from me that then you came through later on and you answered for me. But I might have been less distracted if you had answered to me sooner. Like I wanted to know what you created, and then you eventually told me that you created a blog. If you had said earlier in the presentation, later on I'm going to show you a blog that I created, that would have not distracted me anymore. Because I was like, okay, this is a great presentation, but did she make anything? You know, did she do the other half? And then later on when you said it, I was like, oh, good, thank God, you know. and then you showed it, and that was great. Also, when you talked about doing your own bio, and not having the credentials that the models that you looked at had, I guess the essential question becomes at that point, so what do you do about it? Like, how do you compensate for that? And, I mean, this is a rhetorical question. How do you compensate for that? And everyone's going to have a different answer, but that would be the concern at that point in my revision, saying, okay, I'm not this guy. I don't have a 4-page, curriculum vitae. I have a 1-page resume.
Yeah.
So what do I do to make up for that? I have a friend right now who got laid off. He was in upper management at Benny's in human resources, but he climbed the ladder without college. So now he's on the job hunt for a job that's as high level as the one he had, but he has to compensate for not having a college degree. So he has to really creatively sell himself.
Yeah.
So that would be a consideration there, and the other thing I want to ask you as a PR major, and maybe Jared can jump in at this point if I unmute him for a second, because he's a PR major too. How much do flyers still matter? Like, how much does paper matter? Are they still effective? And you can,
because
yeah,
it's something that someone can take, and usually when you have something in your hand, you at least look at it.
yeah. Jared, what do you think?
I know in the union when people pass me flyers, I grab them, and before I throw them out, I at least look at them.
That's all right. That's an honest question. Jared, do you agree? Same thing?
Yeah, I honestly think it depends on like what's on the paper. Like if it's something flashy, it'll really catch your eye. But I mean, it doesn't have to be paper. Like it could be chalk on like the ground, as long as it resonates with you. Like that's really the goal of it.
Thank you. When I was working on a project for Harrington School a few years ago, I was working with a company in Newport, and they actually talked about the chalk on the ground thing as being highly effective.
Yeah.
But I think URI is a flyer campus. There's flyers and posters everywhere all the time. It's almost like too much. So sometimes there's so much I don't look at any of it. But I think Jared's right too. When something catches your eye, it catches your eye. So that becomes the challenge. How do you make that happen? But anyway, do you have anything you want to add or ask me? I enjoyed this.
I don't really have anything. I'm glad I got to present like this.
Good. I'm glad you did too. And I will record this. I mean, I have been recording it. I will upload it to YouTube and send out the link. Okay.
Awesome.
All right. All right. And Jared, we'll see you at 7:30. Okay, I'm ending now.